Hey. How are you? This is Politics but Laura, and there's a lot going on there today. Where do I begin? Now, I've been covering a lot between Russia, Ukraine, South Africa, Central America, and the United States, and things that are going on. However, I would like to focus a little bit more on Russia because there's more to it than what's being stated. Now, if if you go back over my videos, I drop a whole lot of gems. I can't put it together the way I want to. That would cause an issue. Keep in mind, the truth is revolutionary. Fake news is rampant and accepted. As long as you're putting sugar in people's ears, they're happy to hear it. But once you tell them the things for what things really are, then there's an issue. Sad, sad, but very true. Now and the title, you've probably seen it. Is Putin the red horse mentioned in the book of Revelation? Now, I'm not going to get into the biblical part of it because we all know, if you study the Holy Scriptures, you would know that the red horse is war and strife war and strife. All right. Let me back this up a little bit. Now, I saw this article today, and it caused me to pause. I'm like, oh. Okay, Putin orders partial military call up, risking protest. Now, I have a couple of theories on the Ukraine. Let me go back here. I have a couple of theories on the Ukraine and what I think is going on. I mean, I don't have access to any of the information that the governments have. If we had it, believe me, none of this stuff would even start. Because we, the people, will quash all this foolishness. Because it's pure foolishness. Okay, that's how I'm going to stay on that. I'm not going to get on my soapbox, and I'm not going to do that. Okay, Kiev, Ukraine. Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered a partial mobilization of reservists Wednesday, taking a risky and deeply unpopular step that follows humiliating setback for his troops nearly 7 months ago after invading Ukraine. All right. The Kremlin has struggled to replace its troops in the Ukraine, reaching out. Okay. In his 7-minute national televised address, Putin also warned the West he isn't bluffing over everything at his disposal to protect Russia. An apparent reference in his nuclear arsenal, he has previously told the West not to back Russia against the wall and has rebuked NATO's countries for supplying weapons to the Ukraine. Okay. I mean, I get what he's saying because there's an agreement. Now, NATO, the Ukraine, is not even a NATO country. It's supposed to be neutral. But people in Zelensky's ears, and even before Zelensky, I can't remember the prime minister's name of Ukraine, before Zelensky, they were reaching out to Ukraine under what reason? I'm not quite sure. But when that happened, a civil war broke out in the Ukraine. I'm not going to rehash that at all because there were Ukrainian and then there were Russian Ukrainians, and the Russian Ukrainians were getting slobber knockered. I don't want to say the other word. But right there's on Russia's door. And you could go somewhere in Ukraine, you could shoot a missile, a short range missile, and hit Moscow. I mean, I get why Putin's doing what he's doing, He has to protect his country because you have NATO at its door. Truly, you have NATO because there are other people. There are other military people in Ukraine helping Ukrainians. And let me see, what was it, 2014, when you had Ukrainians over in the U.S. learning strategies and learning how, going through, I guess, soldier school, military school, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's a complete mess. So even with all this, there's something else I want to show you. The Russian and Belarus have accomplished more than one third of the plan integrating Project Mushtin. Now you got to stop and think. What is the planned integration? What project? What are they integrating? That's what I thought, and it was very interesting. Okay, Minsk. June 27th, Russia and Belarus have already accomplished more than one third of their projects as parts of the two country 28 program 28 integration program. The Minsk expects the number of integration projects to keep growing. More than one third of 983 projects, that is a lot, envisioned by these programs have already been accomplished. Priority attention has been given to the creation of the common socioeconomic space. Very interesting, socioeconomic. All right, that's a lot right there in itself. In-depth cooperation in industry and energy, agriculture, and digital economy. Huh. Crypto. And the transport section. Russian Prime Minister Mikhail Mushkin asked when said when openly talking about his Belarusian counterpart, Roman Golovenko, in Minsk on Monday. Very, very interesting. So you got to stop and think. Right there, energy, digital economy, Bitcoin. You have a lot that going on around the world. Everything is going to be connected. Then you have the food, the agriculture. I mean, things are going to come to a complete screeching halt because they're fighting over there, and which it still brings me back to that. Bring me back to that thought. Is Putin putting all this out there to make it seem like that his military is ineffective when right there between Russia and the Ukraine, they give out more than 80% of the wheat around the world, and now these two places are fighting. Now, is that done simply to gain stronghold over the world's economy? Because you know, even though not Putin, but even though Biden has put the most restrictions on Russia, it hasn't stopped it. It hasn't stopped him at all. He's still growing. His money is up and everybody else is down. You got to stop and think what's going on here. What do we really see what's going on? Do we see the big picture or do we just see a small section of the picture thinking it's the big picture? I don't know. I truly don't know, but I know that there's a lot more to what's going on that we know. And I'll just leave it as that. Mm. All right. Pressure is probably more of a political word. In actual fact, in the economy or the economic war, which has been unleashed against Belarus and Russia, the government of these countries did a great deal of national level from March through June to minimize the consequences of the pressure, he said. Belarusian Prime Minister agreed that the 28 union program has have been helping them a lot beyond any doubt. I think and he says and I think their number will grow in the near future. We are working on that, Goloshenko said. So there's a lot going on there, and I'm just thinking that okay, we have all this going on. What is really they have this 28 program with agriculture, digital money. Is Putin now? We already know. Is Putin bringing back the czars? Is that his main intention? It's just a thought. Just a thought. Because a czar is emperor. I don't know. I'm just sort of letting my mind wander. Okay, on that note, is Putin the red horse? Tell me what you think. Do you think I might be just out of left field someplace, just grabbing something out of the air to make sense of what's going on? Or am I onto something? And if so, whether from grabbing stuff out of the air, or you're like, that makes sense. That really well could be true. Put it down in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. And I want to thank you for stopping by.